Hello, this brief video will highlight LAB's Client Instruction Manual. We'll also touch on some additional resources available through lab.com to show you where to locate the policies and forms referenced in this manual. The objective of this document is to define the procedures that a client, especially a new client, must follow to obtain accreditation from LAB. It also defines the relationship between LAB and their accredited laboratories. It describes the accreditation processes that will be carried out for each client. Reference documents, of course, is ISO 17025. Application process. More than likely, if you're viewing this video, you've already applied through lab.com. If you haven't, you can certainly do so by clicking on the Request a Quote button in the upper right-hand corner of our homepage. To start the accreditation process, the laboratory shall send a check for the initial charges, a signed-off copy of Form 308, which is your cost estimate. Again, more than likely that's in process as you're watching this video. Executing that will start to bring you over into the client category and allow us to discuss next steps. Assessor allocation. Assessors are allocated based on their qualifications and technical competence specifically to your scope of accreditation to be assessed. Activities prior to assessment. This is an important part of this video. ISO IEC 17025 is a reference. In addition to the reference set forth in that document, the laboratory must maintain a management system that complies with all requirements of the standard. The laboratory will participate in proficiency testing. Our proficiency testing policy is LAB Policy 002. Laboratories that wish to become accredited and maintain their accreditation are responsible for participating in proficiency testing, or an ILC or round-robin testing program that meets the requirements of the international accreditation community. To get this policy, again, simply go to lab.com, click on Client Resources and Policies, and you'll find Policy 002 regarding proficiency testing right there. Notes on proficiency testing. It's only required that you participate and complete one proficiency test in one major field prior to accreditation. Further, you must complete proficiency testing for all major fields within a 4-year cycle of your initial year of accreditation. Internal audits and management review. Prior to the initial assessment, the laboratory shall have completed at least one internal audit of its activities that cover its compliance with ISO 17025 and technical competence. Laboratories must also complete management review by the highest level of laboratory management, which is compliant with the requirements of ISO 17025. Traceability and measurement uncertainty policy. We have LAB Policy 001 and LAB Form 001 mentioned here. Again, those are available through lab.com by going to Client Resources and then to the Policies or the Forms and Docs section as needed to download those documents. The laboratory shall follow Policy 001 to prove their traceability. The laboratory shall follow all applicable sections when demonstrating the traceability of measurements through all sets of the calibration chain from NIST or other national equivalents down to their laboratory. Preparing the scope of accreditation. The scope of accreditation is what drives your accreditation, our assessment process, and it's important that you spend time to develop a scope of accreditation that's sufficient before we come in. I know on the initial stages sometimes it's not fully developed and we go off a proposed scope, but calibration and dimensional inspection laboratories shall calculate their best measurement uncertainty as reported above. Again, it references some SOPs and some forms available at lab.com. Reporting uncertainty is an important part of the accreditation process. Policy 001 outlines our policy on traceability and uncertainty of measurement. Calibration laboratories shall report their uncertainty of measurement on all calibration certificates unless it can be proven that the client does not want to report it. Regardless of whether a client wants to report the measurement uncertainty, the laboratory shall retain sufficient information to report it if necessary. Testing laboratories shall perform and have available for the assessor a needs assessment, procedures and calculated uncertainties for those tests that require to have it reported. Assessment flowchart is available by Form 11A through lab.com. It's our initial assessment and reassessment flowchart. Optional pre-assessment is included in all cost estimates. It's not required, but we do recommend, especially for labs completely new to 17025, to have us perform a pre-assessment to evaluate your preparedness for the accreditation process. Assessor spends usually 1, maybe 2 days at your laboratory facility evaluating your management system, and they'll point out areas that need improvement prior to the full assessment process. The end goal is to help you be better prepared and have fewer headaches to clean up after the assessment during the technical review process. Assessment itself, during the assessment, visit the LAB assessor will evaluate the laboratory's quality system, documentation, and implementation. All items listed on the proposed scope of accreditation will be technically witnessed to determine the laboratory's compliance to the standard and LAB policies and procedures. LAB Form 48B, again available through our website, must be completed by the laboratory and submitted to LAB along with the required laboratory documentation stated on the document checklist. The initial assessment will be conducted the first year. Surveillance visits are the following 2 years, so we're on a 3-year accreditation cycle. 1 initial year, 2 surveillance years. The 4th year, the cycle repeats. One other important note is our guidance document. ISO IEC 17025 guidance document is available to our laboratories. It is not available through our website at this time. If you have not already received a copy of that, make sure you email me at sales@l-a-b.com and request it. I'll gladly give it to you if you're pursuing accreditation. That's it for this short video. Hope you found value in it. Have a great day.